Released in 1990, Dances with Wolves was more than a film. It was a cinematic milestone. Over time, several actors who brought this epic story to life have quietly passed away. Today, we remember their performances, their legacy, and the lasting imprint they left on one of cinema's most unforgettable classics. Known to Dances with Wolves fans as Lieutenant Elgin, the composed Union officer who witnesses Dunbar's heroism, Charles Rocket was a man of sharp contrasts. Born Charles Claverie, he was originally a famous comedian and a controversial cast member of Saturday Night Live, where he infamously dropped an F-bomb on live TV. While he brought a grounded dignity to the frontier in this film, his real life held hidden darkness. In his later years, he continued working steadily in films like Dumb and Dumber, often playing smarmy antagonists. However, on October 7, 2005, tragedy struck. Rocket was found dead in a field near his Connecticut home, his throat slit. The state medical examiner ruled it a suicide, a shocking and violent end that left his family and fans devastated. And he was 56. Dave Bald Eagle was far more than just an actor. He was a living bridge to American history. In Dances with Wolves, he appeared as a tribal elder, but his real life was the stuff of legends. The grandson of Chief White Bull, who fought Custer at Little Bighorn, Dave was a decorated war hero. He served as a paratrooper in the 82nd Airborne during World War II, surviving a gunshot wound during the D-Day invasion of Normandy. He even danced with Marilyn Monroe and served as a goodwill ambassador for the Lakota people for decades. He lived with incredible vitality until the very end, embodying the resilience of his ancestors. On July 22, 2016, this true American warrior passed away peacefully at his home on the Cheyenne River Indian Reservation from natural causes. He was a monumental 97. Jimmy Herman brought a quiet, stoic strength to the role of Stone Calf, a warrior who eventually accepts Dunbar into the tribe. A Chippewayan from the Cold Lake First Nations in Alberta, Canada, Herman came to acting later in life after a dedicated career as an alcohol and drug abuse counselor for Native youth. He was a gentle giant who used his fame, including a long-running role on the hit series North of 60, to inspire indigenous communities across North America. He was known for his distinctively deep voice and braided hair. Sadly, his journey ended abruptly on September 13, 2013. Herman collapsed and passed away shortly after leaving a media event in Edmonton. While the specific medical cause was cited as natural, his sudden departure was a heavy blow to First Nations arts. He was 72. Robert Pastorelli gave us one of the film's most memorable performances as Timmins, the crude, foul-mouthed wagon driver who guides Dunbar to the frontier only to meet a gruesome end. This role launched him into stardom, leading to his beloved character, Eldon the Painter, on the hit sitcom Murphy Brown. He was at the peak of his career, a talented boxer turned actor with infectious energy. And however, his life off camera spiraled into a dark Hollywood tragedy involving depression and substance abuse, especially after the mysterious death of his girlfriend at his home years earlier. On March 8, 2004, the laughter stopped forever. Pastorelli was found dead in his Hollywood Hills home from a narcotic overdose of morphine. It was a heartbreaking end to a man who brought so much life to the screen. Nay, he was only 49. Doris Leader-Charge was the heart of the film's authenticity. Cast as Pretty Shield, the wife of Chief Ten Bears, she wasn't playing a character so much as representing her heritage. A real-life Lakota elder and a professor of language and culture at Sinte Gleska University, she was the one who translated the script into Lakota and tirelessly taught Kevin Costner every syllable of his dialogue. Her on-screen warmth reflected her genuine spirit as a teacher and cultural guardian. She remained proud of the film's impact until her final days. Doris passed away on February 19, 2001, at her home on the Rosebud Indian Reservation. While her cause of death was natural, her legacy lives on in every word spoken in the film. She was 70 years old. With a face carved by history and a voice that commanded silence, Floyd Red Crow Westerman was unforgettable as the wise Chief Ten Bears. He was a giant in the Native American community, not just as an actor in films like The Doors and The X-Files, but as a celebrated country musician and a fierce activist for the American Indian movement. He spent his life fighting for indigenous rights and environmental causes. In his later years, his health declined due to diabetes, and he underwent a kidney transplant. However, the warrior spirit remained. On December 13, 2007, surrounded by family at Cedars-Sinai Medical Center, Floyd passed away from complications of leukemia. He was 71, leaving behind a legacy of wisdom that transcended the screen. Maury Chaykin delivered a masterclass in madness as Major Fambro in The Deranged Officer Who Sends Dunbar to the Frontier. In just one scene, he created an unforgettable portrait of insanity, wetting his pants and declaring himself the king before taking his own life. A dual citizen of the US and Canada, Chaykin was a heavyweight character actor in every sense, known for his roles in Entourage and A Nero Wolfe Mystery. He had a rare gift for playing characters who were eccentric, menacing, or deeply vulnerable. However, his own health was a constant battle. He struggled with kidney problems and a heart valve infection in his final years. In a poetic but tragic twist of fate, Maury Chaykin passed away on July 27, 2010, the very day of his 61st birthday, due to complications from kidney failure. The king took his final bow on the day he was born. With his chiseled features and distinctive scar, Steve Reavis became one of the most recognizable Native American faces in Hollywood history. Starting as a stunt rider in Dances with Wolves, his intense presence quickly earned him speaking roles. He went on to play the brutal Shep Proudfoot in the classic film Fargo and appeared in Last of the Mohicans. A member of the Blackfeet Nation, Reavis was known for his quiet demeanor but intimidating on-screen power. His scar, earned in a tragic bar fight years before acting, became his trademark. Sadly, his life was cut short too soon. On December 7, 2017, Reavis passed away at a hospital in Missoula, Montana, at just 55 years old. While the specific cause was never publicly disclosed by his grieving family, his passing marked the loss of a true indigenous cinema icon. Donald Houghton played General Tide, the high-ranking Union officer seen during the film's harrowing opening Civil War sequences. While his screen time was limited, his presence established the brutal, bureaucratic world that John Dunbar was so desperate to escape. A distinguished stage veteran with a naturally commanding aura, Houghton was a familiar face in 1980s and 90s cinema, appearing in cult classics like Blue Velvet and Alien Nation. He specialized in playing doctors, judges, or officers, figures of authority that anchored the story with gravitas. Sadly, his final curtain call came just before the new millennium. On April 14, 1999, Houghton passed away unexpectedly due to complications following a surgery. He was 69 years old. Though he didn't live to see the film's legacy age into the 21st century, his contribution to that opening atmosphere of despair remains essential. Wayne Grace was the definition of a Hollywood workhorse. In Dances with Wolves, he played the Major, a rough, pragmatic officer representing the encroaching military force that threatens the frontier. With his gravelly voice and tough exterior, he was instantly recognizable to fans of Star Trek, The X-Files, and Seinfeld. Grace wasn't just a screen actor. He was a prolific voice artist who brought life to countless cartoons and video games, earning a special place in pop culture history. He continued working well into his later years, proving his enduring talent. On January 13, 2022, the industry lost this reliable veteran when he passed away from heart failure at the age of 81. As one of the last surviving members of the film's military cast, his passing marked the end of a chapter for the actors who portrayed the grit of the Old West. As the screen fades, we honor the actors who are no longer with us, but whose performances live on through Dances with Wolves. Thank you for watching and remembering them with us. If this film left a mark on your heart, feel free to like, share, and leave a comment about the character you remember most.